Hey, welcome to episode 137 of Scar Bearers. I'm Chris DT Gordon. I'm happy to have you here with me today. And I actually have an actual guest that we'll introduce in a minute. But in the meantime, thanks for being here. Please like this episode, subscribe to the podcast, and share it with others who might need some hope and inspiration in their lives. Also, and I haven't done this in a while, but please check out chrisdtgordon.com if you want me to spread the attitude of gratitude to your school or organization, or you can go to chrisdtgordon.biz, B-I-Z, if you are a business that would like my message as well. So, as I mentioned earlier, I actually have a guest with us today. I know we've had some scheduling issues that we've had to work around, but we're back at it. And my guest today is DeAnna Creek. DeAnna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Today is a very good day.
It is indeed. Truly is. And as I did mention before, this is new information for the audience. We are NF siblings. For those who do not know, NF here on this channel stands for Necrotizing Fasciitis. Many of my former and my current guests have been in contact with this dreaded disease and have survived. And DeAnna, I'm so excited that you're here to share your story. Why don't you walk us back a bit to life before NF?
Well, life before, it was just very routine. Just get up at the crack of dawn during the week and get ready for work and say goodbye to my dogs. I have 4 dogs.
Okay. Where do you work at? Or where did you work?
I work in a correctional facility near downtown Fort Worth, and I'm an office clerk, and I work in the admin section. And anyway, so go to work, and well, several months before this all happened, we were very short-handed with our security staff, so I'd often stay late or work double shifts to help out with security. I get the same, or the admin people get the same exact training as security. So it wasn't really anything new. It was just a lot of hours on your feet and just, anyway, just a little bit of stress here and there, just working that many hours. I'm not 18 anymore, so, but anyway, so yeah, then I come home and fix dinner and snuggle with the pets and watch my favorite TV shows. Okay. And on the weekends, just do whatever needed to be done around the house and hang out with friends and such.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people are wondering that this might be the most important question that I ask. What kind of dogs and what are their names?
Okay. Actually, I at the time that this all happened, I had 4 dogs, 2 Maltese, my boy Marty, he was 15, my girl Sarah, she was about 14, and Ladybug, she was a Chihuahua, a Chihuahua Italian Greyhound mix. She's a real cutie, weighed 6 pounds soaking wet. And she was a senior dog too. We don't know how old she was. And Superman, a chubby Chihuahua, he's 14 pounds of love. And anyway, so yeah, they're sweet dogs. They're all rescues. They're all seniors.
Okay. All right. Well, good on you for not only working in the correctional department. I know that's very challenging work, but also for giving those loving animals a great home.
Yeah, they've made a difference in my life. It's like who rescued who, and
yeah. That's why I hear that a lot of times from people who take in shelter animals.
Yeah.
So you were just basically living your best life, going to work, and then you have your animals, and the weekends you're having fun with friends. And so what changed it all? Now, and I know the answer to the question, but I was trying to work us into that.
Oh, okay. Well, Actually, what happened, I think it was on a Tuesday night. I was getting ready for bed, and I found a lump on my lower inner right thigh area. And I thought it was just a boil. I've had these before, not just in that area, but you know, like in my armpits and stuff. And I thought, well, it'll go away on its own, and or it'll rupture on its own, and it'll be fine. And the next day, I went to work, and just as the day progressed, I started feeling worse and worse. I
Mhm.
knew I was running a fever, but we didn't have a working thermometer
Okay.
in the office. You know, when COVID started, we had thermometers there, working thermometers, and we were required to have our temperature taken when we got there. And it's kind of sloped off now that things are getting back to the new normal.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was just feeling bad and feverish, and went home and took my temperature, and it was at 103.
Ooh.
And that place on my leg had gotten bigger. It spread it out, and I'd say it was like about softball size. It went from being like a pea size to softball size,
Oh,
you
all
know,
right.
in just a matter of 24. I told my roommate Sharon, I said, can you take me to the ER? Something's just not right. And so I got there and waited about an hour to see the doctor. And he looked at it and he said, it's cellulitis. He said, your diabetes isn't under control, is it? And I admitted that, yes, lately I haven't been paying attention. I haven't been taking my blood glucose checks, and that I'd just been throwing caution to the wind and eating whatever I want. And you just can't do that when you have type 2 diabetes. And
Mhm.
I found out soon enough why.
Yeah.
So anyway, he sent me home. He said, I'm not going to try to lance this, because he said he doesn't think anything's going to come out. And I didn't want to send you home with a hole in your leg. So instead, he sent me home with 2 antibiotics and hydrocodone.
Okay.
And so I went home, and the next day I wasn't feeling any better. I called into sick, or called into work sick 2 days in a row. And the weekend came around, and I was still feeling bad. I was running a high fever. I was sweating real bad, waking up in a cold sweat, my clothes drenched, and I just didn't understand what was going on. But the doctor did tell me, the ER doctor did tell me that if my condition didn't improve, to come back to the ER. So he did tell me that.
Okay.
And so Sunday, the pain was so bad too in my leg that I could barely walk. And so Sunday, I decided to go ahead and just call for an ambulance, because I was in no condition to drive. And I thought if I took an ambulance, they could get me into a room faster rather than me sitting there waiting with several other people.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that turned out to be the right decision. And so they picked me up. They said, can you at least walk out here? And I said, I'll try to, but you probably need to go ahead and bring the stretcher a little bit closer. And anyway, as soon as we got in there in the ambulance, the EMT took my vitals, and he said, well, your blood sugar is 387. It's never been that high before.
Yeah.
And he said, and also you have sepsis. And I don't know if I can curse on this, but shit just
You can edit, of course, but you go ahead.
yeah, shit just got real. And
Yeah.
because I thought sepsis was what happened to people that were in their final stages of life, like cancer patients.
Mhm.
And he said, well, I can give you some morphine. And again, I thought morphine was for cancer patients. And I said, sure, if it's going to stop this pain, go right ahead. So
Mhm.
he did that, and he did his promise, got me to the hospital in a room immediately. And they got me settled in. And then before I knew it, I was taken off to get a CT scan. And the physician in there that did the scan said, well, you got a lot of stuff going on down there. I said, yeah, I think so. And anyway, so they got me back to my room. Uh, and before I knew it, before the doctor could finish getting the sentence out of his mouth that we need to take you into surgery, In comes these two nurses with a gurney saying, okay, we got to get you to surgery right now. And I was just in shock, and I didn't even have time to call or text my sister-in-law. She's a physician, and I usually consult with her about any medical things I have going on, and I just didn't have time to get a hold of her. And so anyway, I started to cry, and then the nurse calmed me down and said, you're going to be just fine. So they took me in, and they did the surgery and cut me open. And I found out later they were doing something called I don't know if I'm pronouncing this word right, debridement.
Yep, debridement.
Okay.
Yep.
And where they went in there and made an incision and took out all the necrotized material in there, the skin and stuff that had gone dead. And I still hadn't heard that term necrotizing fasciitis until like several days later, because as far as I knew, I just had an infection.
Yeah.
And anyway, so about a day and a half later, they said, we got to get you in surgery again. So I guess they had to go in there and scrape out some more dead tissue. And anyway, so
yeah, they have to
they
get
brought me
out
back.
everything, or else the whole process will start again.
Yeah, exactly. But so I was in the ICU for about 4 or 5 days. I probably would have gotten out sooner, but they were trying to find a room for me, and there were 3 people ahead of me also waiting for rooms. And they finally were able to get me on the oncology floor, which when I told, friends that were coming up to the hospital, they said, you got cancer? I said, no, this was the only room that was available, happened to be on the oncology floor. And anyway, so I notified my brother and sister-in-law, and they came up, and my sister-in-law explained to me what necrotizing fasciitis was, or neck fash. And I was like, well, good grief. I'd never heard of it before. And one of the doctors I spoke with, he said, this can be caused by, uncontrolled diabetes. And he thinks that was the case because some people get it when they're exposed to like stagnant water, or they'll get a cut just doing everyday things in the backyard. And
Yep.
then all of a sudden that,
Yep. I scraped my back of my right hand on my garage wall.
oh, but yeah, I remember reading that story. Wow, that's just crazy. But anyway, so it was just, I guess to me, it was embarrassing and humiliating where the cuts were. The nursing staff was fine. They didn't make me feel ashamed or embarrassed. I did that to myself. And so I didn't tell too many people about this just because of the nature where it was, like close to my lady bits down there.
Yep.
So anyway, but I had to tell people or my boss at work, and they sent somebody up there right away to get fill out paperwork for family leave, FMLA paperwork, I think is what they call it.
Yep.
And so I got that filled out, and my job, the company also has a special fund that's meant for people that experience catastrophic illnesses. And basically they give you a Pell Grant of $500. You never have to pay it back to help you with medical expenses. And so I filled out paperwork for that. And it was just really hard, the area where it was. And then I met the wound vac team, and they were wonderful. They're just really good. I saw them Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And I didn't understand the full process. All I knew was they were putting something inside there in the area. The story, I think they put some kind of foam or something in there, it seems like. And they go in there and clean it out really good and put gauze in there and tape it back up. And they put that hose in there and tape that up with this super tape. It looks like that metal tape that you use to wrap up your pipes in the winter. I don't know what you call that stuff. Yep. But anyway.
The wound vac is what you're describing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the canister that all that junk was going into, that they were sucking out of me, reminded me of one of those old vacuum cleaners, the canister type. And it was
Yep.
heavy like that too, because they got me up and walking like pretty quickly once I got into a regular room out of ICU. And so I was on a walker and had to carry that in the catheter too. And so I started walking up and down the hall, and had to use at first I had to use bedpans. And they don't make them like they used to. I guess they used to be metal, and now they make them out of some kind of really hard PVC or plastic or something.
Mhm.
And anyway, so and they got me up on the potty chair. And one day, I remember one night in particular, there were two nurses in there, and one said, "Well, I've got to get the chair ready. It's just not ready." And anyway, so the other nurse, she told the other nurse to just make sure I stayed steady because I was standing up. So I just leaned forward and gave her a big bear hug and put my head on her shoulder. For whatever reason, I just needed the human touch right then. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they get that all the time. But anyway, so but I started getting stronger every day, and would just celebrate any little thing that I could do. Oh boy, I
That's
can pull
important.
myself out of bed now. Oh
Oh
boy,
yeah.
I can use the potty chair. Oh boy, I can sit up in the big chair and watch TV for a couple of hours.
Mhm.
And anyway, so the physical therapist didn't think I needed much therapy because, as far as relearning to brush my teeth and my hair and all this other stuff, they said, "Well, you seem fine with that. We just need to keep you walking." And so I did. And I guess I was about there for about 3 weeks. I was at Arlington Memorial, and then I was transferred by ambulance to the Kindred Hospital across the street, which was it's a hospital it's a specialty hospital that cares for patients with wounds and stuff, and specialty care, I guess you say.
Mhm.
And they got me into a room there, and the wound vac they used there was a little different. It was smaller, more compact, and it was in like this little carry bag, so you could, strap it over your shoulder and walk to the restroom. And so it was a little easier on me, and I was getting stronger and walking more and stuff, and getting a little more independent.
Good.
And anyway, I was getting too used to it. And I remember one night I'd forgotten that I needed to unplug that wound vac from the bed, and I started walking, and it came out. The hose that was in my leg
Oh,
came out. And so anyway, I told the nurses, and they tried to put it back in the best they could. And anyway, so they said, "Well, we got to get you back on a catheter." And I was like, "Oh, please don't." And I think the first time they must have put one in the catheter, it must have been when I was out of it or something.
yep.
I've heard that's the best time for them to put it in, is when you're out of it, because when you're wide awake, it's just.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Anyway, so the next day I asked the nurse, "Is there just any way that you can go ahead and take out this catheter? It's just uncomfortable. I can't stand it anymore." So she said, "Well, they shouldn't have put it in the first place." And so she went ahead and took it out.
Mhm.
And I was on the wound vac machine there for about, I don't know, about 10 days or so, because I remember once I got off it, I got to go in the shower, and I could go in the shower by myself, and I still had to have the wound covered up. And they said, "We'll just change it when you get out of the shower." But it was nice getting that freedom back to be able to wash my own hair, take a shower, and stuff. So anyway, and then they came the day where they released me from the hospital, and I didn't have to take a wound vac home, but they made arrangements for me to go to the R3 wound care clinic.
Okay.
And anyway, so they said, go there. Initially, I was supposed to go there 3 times a week, but the first time I went there, they said they were going to try to get me home health care. So nurses would come to my home 3 times a week to change out the bandages. But the insurance was just, I don't know. They were going back and forth with my insurance company and they couldn't seem to make the arrangement. So I just told them, I said, I think I can do this myself. Just provide me with all the bandages and gauzes and stuff and the saline solution, and I'll just do it myself.
Mhm.
And so I did. I ended up, it was about a 31-inch incision, I think is what they told
Oh,
me,
wow.
31 inches.
That's huge.
And I remember them wanting to show me the pictures at the hospital of it. You know, they said, "Oh, you got to see these." And I said, "No, I don't. I just,
There's nothing saying I have to.
I just didn't want to see it." But once I started changing the dressing myself, I had one of these cosmetic mirrors that's got the light bars on the sides
Mhm.
that, and so I used that to look at the wound and so I could get the bandaging on right. And it was, it was a little shocking. It was just seeing that, but
Yeah,
and
I remember the first time I saw my surgery pictures, and it looked like a crime scene. It looked
yeah,
like
oh
something
my,
out of a horror movie.
yeah.
I did find out though when I started speaking to health classes in high schools that I didn't really need to be there talking. All those kids want to do is see the pictures of the surgery. So that was interesting. But
Oh my.
anyway, so you're home, you're cleaning your own wounds. When did you start feeling like I'm going, like I can get comfortable with this new normal?
I don't know. It was about a week into being at home. Actually, I was just, I guess, so stir crazy from being in the hospital and stuff. And I said, well, I'm going to go out and go grocery shopping. So I did. And I tried to walk up one of those curbs. You know how they have the handicap, like, uh, concrete sidewalk thing, and then they have the curb right there. And I
Yep.
always take the curb because, you know, I'm not handicapped, but I was having trouble negotiating that curb. I almost lost my balance twice.
Hmm.
And I just got tired real easily. And it's like, I think I need to kind of take it easy and maybe wait another week or two before I go shopping again.
Mhm.
Uh, Even though the nurses at the wound care clinic said that was fine if I wanted to do that. They said, just don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Just know your limits and stuff. And the same with driving. And I didn't really have a problem with driving. But the next time I went, my roommate, she's got a couple of walking canes. So I borrowed one of her canes in
Okay.
case I had problems with the curb again. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, and now how long ago was this?
Okay. Well, um, it started, let's see, that first day was August the 10th. And then the day that I first went to the hospital by ambulance was August 14th.
So this is
And
just a couple months ago.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And I was released from the Kindred Hospital, the specialty hospital, on September 12th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell it's been a while since I've interviewed someone. That should be one of my first questions. It's like, when did this happen? So I
Oh, yeah.
apologize. But, the fact that you're able to talk about it and share your story is fantastic, actually, because there are some people, it takes years for
Oh,
them
yeah.
to come around to sharing what they have gone through. So I really commend you, DeAnna, on
Thank you.
sharing your story and being able to put yourself out there because, this could help someone who is going through a similar or the same situation.
Yes, yes. I've read a lot of the stories, and some of them are just heartbreaking. And there was a story I read about a woman in England that that she lost her life to neck fash, and her husband was telling her story. And the thing about neck fash that I found out from reading up on it, is that it disguises itself, that it can disguise itself as the flu,
Yep.
or, well, in my case, it was mistaken for cellulitis,
Yeah.
which,
I thought mine was bursitis because it happened on my elbow.
yeah, yeah.
So I thought it was, the doctors thought it was
Hmm.
just an inflammation of that bursa sac. So it is very deceptive.
Yeah, and it's just so important that you get to the doctor in a hurry if you really suspect something's wrong. I know a lot of people just hate going to doctors, or they try to tough it out. I try to tough things out too, but I don't know. There was something, I don't know, just my intuition or something that told me I've got to get to the hospital right now, that
Yeah.
day when I called the ambulance.
Hmm.
And, but you got to act on it fast, because it's just unbelievable how
Yeah,
fast it spreads. It's just crazy.
it is. It is. It's relentless.
Yeah.
So, as you're going on in your new chapter of life, DeAnna, how has this changed your perspective?
Well, it's changed me in that I'm not taking my health for granted anymore. I'm eating healthier. My work, actually, they're in conjunction with a company called Virgin Mobile, and they gave us these free. It's called Max Buzz watches that keeps track of your steps and stuff. And so I've done some of the challenges through work on that. And they've also partnered with a program called Real Appeal. That's a whole healthy lifestyle change kind of program that also incorporates exercise, because people who know me know how much I hate exercise. The
Mhm.
only exercise I ever really loved was playing softball.
Okay.
And I had to give that up years ago when I started gaining weight. And the doctor told me it's just too stressful on your joints. When you lose 100 pounds, you can play softball again. And I just haven't been able to. But both these programs have really helped. But and just all the people that you love, don't hesitate to check on them every once in a while. If you can't call them every day, just say, hey, how's everything going? Because I'm on the downside of my 50s, and so are a lot of my friends. And so now I'm trying to check in with them more often, and family members and stuff, just to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah. So, what's next for you? I know you said you're looking at improving your lifestyle. Are there any goals that you've set for yourself? I know a lot of people, a lot of our NF siblings, they set goals for themselves because they're inspired by this new lease on life.
Oh, yes. I don't know. I guess it's keeping my A1C level down. This last time, I think it was November 11th when I had it checked, had the lab work done, and
Mhm.
everything came back normal. And my A1C went from 7.2 to 5.4, which is really good. Ideally, it's supposed to be 7 or less. And last year, it got up as high as 10.1, which is just horrible. And so I'm trying to pay more attention to that. I'm trying to get moving more, even doing things like parking further away at the grocery store, even at work, parking further away and walking, and taking the stairs anytime I can, and just getting out there and just, you know, getting more healthy, and just being grateful for everything. I'm just thankful and grateful to be alive.
Yeah, I definitely concur that. Really quick, A1C, what is that?
Okay, that's your average blood glucose readings. It goes over like a 3 or 6 month period. Well, for me, it's a 3 month period. So over 90 days, it's
Mhm.
the average of your readings.
Okay.
And so, anyway, you know, when I'm paying attention to what I'm eating and paying attention to the carbs, and, not taking in any sugar that's not necessary, it'll be a lower number, which is better. And I had a little bit of a health scare last year when my blood panel for the liver, it showed there was some abnormal activity in my liver. And I saw a liver specialist, and he told me to cut out all bread. He said, no rice, no bread, no tortilla chips, stuff like that. And I did that for about 3 months. And I lost, about 35 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And, but unfortunately, once I got back on bread, because I did, it it didn't all come back, but some of it started creeping back on the
Yeah.
weight. But
Yeah.
so it's just amazing how when you cut something like that out of your diet, how much of a difference it can make.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, DeAnna, as you start looking towards this new chapter, what is something that you maybe took for granted or neglected that you now are thankful for, or something that happened or it was in your life that you really didn't appreciate, but now you have a greater appreciation of it?
Okay. Well, uh, I guess my job, because I was so afraid I was going to lose my job, but it turns out my employers really liked me.
Mhm.
And once I was gone there, absent there for 2 months, um, they found out just how tedious my job was. That it took like 3 other people in the office to do my job.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm real grateful for that. And I don't piss and moan anymore if they say, "Can you stay over a couple hours?" Or it's just like, okay, sure, fine. But I just can't do double shifts anymore. So, but so if they ask me somewhere down the line, I'll try to barter with them on that a little bit, I guess. But
Okay.
yeah, and yeah, just don't take for granted that you know I can do something tomorrow, because we're not promised tomorrow.
Nope.
And but I know that, but I can still look forward to tomorrow and just be grateful for being alive today. There's just so many people that this strikes them and they just don't survive it.
That's
But so anyway,
No,
yeah,
I greatly appreciate that answer, and I totally concur. And I
yeah,
and I also had an employer that helped my family out greatly when this
mhm,
happened to us. And so it was very fortuitous that's where I was working. So
yeah, yeah.
I definitely know where you're coming from. So as we depart here, I do have one more question to ask you.
Okay, okay.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Pterodactyl.
And why pterodactyl?
Just because I like saying pterodactyl.
That is pretty fun. But do you know about the pterodactyl? Do you know why you can't hear them go to the bathroom?
No, why?
Their P is silent.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll have to tell that one at the office.
Definitely. You have to let me know how it goes over. Well, DeAnna, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to get to know you, and I really wish you the best. And I look forward to hearing more of your exploits.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Chris.
Anyway, thank you. And so, folks, I really appreciate you being here with us today to hear DeAnna's story. If you want to reach out to me, you can do so by clicking on the show notes below, or saying, stopping by chrisdtgordon.com or chrisdtgordon.biz if you want me to visit your organization to help share the attitude of gratitude. But with that, I wish you adieu. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Please have a great
Thank
day.
you.
And
Take care
remember
and
to
God
pass the
bless.
perfection and go for greatness.